Welcome to Talkin Business. I'm Joe Catrambone, CEO of the Stewart Martin County Chamber of Commerce, and I've got a really special lady with me today, a colleague who does business development, which are chambers of commerce, and most people know are supposed to be involved in. And I always tell Joan I'm not a business development person, and she tells me I am. So, okay, I'll agree with her at times. But anyway, Joan Goodrich. And I'm so happy that you took time out of your busy schedule to come here. I know you're up to your eyeballs, like all of us. Busy, which is a good thing. That's job security. I always call it job security.
Yeah, it's busy. Our businesses are busy,
Yeah.
so we are.
Yeah. So what I like to start out with is, I basically know some, but how did you end up in Martin County? What brought you here?
So you welcomed me, the community welcomed me 3 years ago when the career opportunity at the BDB opened up. So you were looking for an economic developer to come in, help the organization, partnerships, and do this work in building a stronger, healthier economy. So I can't believe it's 3 years. What attracted me to the position was just the enormous opportunity of that I saw, that was going to come out of the ground, because so many of the property owners, were readying their land for the next generation of job creators. My mom and dad also just happened to live in Port St. Lucie, and I thought it'd give us a great opportunity to spend more quality time together. So
You were in South Florida.
I was in South Florida,
Yeah.
so I've done this work around the economy for about 35 years now.
Wow.
I've run chambers of commerce. I've
I
run
knew you
public.
had a chamber background.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why we relate so well.
We have this soulness
Yeah,
with
yeah,
each
yeah,
other,
yeah,
right?
Right.
And of course, when I learned that you and the other chambers more than 30 years ago were the inspiring leaders, along with the Board of County Commissioners, to form this public-private partnership for economic development. Yeah, I just loved that, everyone was on the same page there.
Yeah, it took us a long time to get there, but we did.
Yeah.
The funding was such a huge issue in the beginning. And I know you've heard the story, and I don't mean to be redundant, but early on, the only funding we had was from the city of Stewart, the chambers, all the chambers, the Marine Industry Association. I'm going to leave some people out, but anyway, it all came from private funding,
Mm-hmm.
except for the city of Stewart. And the city of Stewart at the time was the largest donor in our chamber, because it was so much per member, and we had the larger chamber. So next to the city of Stewart, our contribution was the largest next to the city of Stewart to keep the BDB running.
Yeah, I'm often asked, what is the best model for economic development? And after doing this inside City Hall, being the bureaucrat, as lead of the chamber, purely private, and then through a public-private partnership, I do believe, when you put the brightest minds of the public sector, the nonprofit sector, and the private sector together, magic
Yeah,
happens.
you have to have that because we're also different.
Yes.
We're a lot. I mean, we're all after the same thing, but our organizations are so different in the way we do things. So that was extremely important to have that, and I think that's finally what brought it all together. Is that it was, even with limited funding that we had, that we were being able to perform to some degree of success.
Right.
And so I think that helped move it along to where we finally got the funding that was supposed to be given to business development through the economic, or through the comp plan. Comp plan
For the economic element. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
that economic element, those dollars should be dedicated to business development, and it wasn't. So
Well,
it took us a long time to get there.
And you speak about the economic element. I mean, most people don't realize the importance of that. So when we sometimes hear Martin County doesn't care about business, so untrue. Again, so much that they put the economic element into its comp plan. So there's no walking away from what I always consider the heart of the community, which is business. If we don't have business and job creators, here in our community, so much doesn't happen. And we saw that with the pandemic, didn't we?
Yes.
When some of our, legacy industries like hospitality all of a sudden found themselves shuttered because of, the rules and regs and what we had to do to keep ourselves safe in the pandemic.
Yeah, that was quite an experience.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll never go through that again.
We hope not, right?
But we held up. I mean, I think we did pretty well. I had some people. I had Griffin on earlier. The hospitality industry suffered a little bit, but as I've said, and I don't mean to be redundant, and the people who've watched before, I always think we're in a bubble here. I mean, look what's happening in the north of us and the south of us, and I think we came away. At least I can say for the chamber, we came away unscathed.
From a newbie's point of view, I totally agree with you. Again, when you look at the economic base of our community, we're highly entrepreneurial. And so when you're dealing with a highly entrepreneurial economy, that ability to adapt and pivot and innovate is totally there. Again, our average firm size in Martin County is 9 or 10. And, what I loved to witness and be a small part of is not only just those businesses taking care of themselves, but how they did all of the beautiful care of the community. Whether that's one of our downtown businesses, restaurateurs, feeding our first responders, or, some of our leaders stepping up and saying, well, let's, bring all of our, food and supplies together so families have it easier in order to, get them as they need. Again, the nonprofits, Joe, what the chamber did. Yeah, it's a special place. We've got a special place
it
here.
It really is. And another thing that reminded me of, in the business, there was a lot of entrepreneurial partnership that went on. For instance, the city allowing one of the restaurants downtown to take up the street and put tables to feed people outside because of the mask issues and things of that nature. So it was kind of a team effort that it all worked. It
Right.
really worked really well. And I'm proud of that. I mean, obviously it's wonderful for the chamber because one of our best years was 2019 financially, and that's in the middle of everything, So there were a lot of things that were set up that allowed us to continue and our members to continue on and operate their businesses successfully.
Right.
Compared to what was happening around us, especially.
And alongside you, we have the privilege of re-engaging with businesses too. We actually, served 1,200 businesses during that time to just help them, whatever, you have a question, I'm looking for this, that sort of thing. And for the first time in a long time, the Business Development Board had a chance to join you and the other chamber execs in doing that important work as we
And working together.
And working
along
together.
with the Economic Council, the other chambers.
Yes.
And so that's also, I think, very unique in communities to see everybody engage and get along and work towards the same goals.
United economic leadership is definitely one of our competitive advantages. Larger communities don't think about bringing everybody to the table. To do that thought leadership, to do those responses in times that are needed, to innovate, to learn from each other. So and I think from a business development board point of view, and you were instrumental in bringing some of these stories forward. I loved our series that we did, Stories of Triumph. So, to maybe give a little more hope or happiness out there as we shined a light on our entrepreneurs and business owners who were doing, such beautiful work during this period of time.
A lot of people don't understand business development. They don't get it. I learned a long time ago, maybe certainly before I was a chamber exec, because I served on the board of directors of the Titusville Chamber of Commerce. So going back even to those days, I think it's probably back there because Kennedy Space Center was, we had all of that stuff going on in Titusville and Brevard County. But I found out or learned that economic development really comes from within. So many people think, well, the BDV should be out there and they should be bringing in IBM and they should be bringing in Pitney Bowes and they should be bringing in headquarters. That's where you're not economic growth, from what I know and understand, comes from within more than externally. Is that right?
Oh, you're totally right on. Again, most of our jobs that get created for our community are from those that are starting up or already here.
And expanding.
So 60% of job creation comes from us growing our own.
60%?
60%. So what's great, so that's why from a business development board point of view, in the work that we do with you and others, is, starting, growing, keeping, and welcoming. We do that every day with businesses and entrepreneurs and executives of all shapes and sizes. But particular, and what's so great about our relationship and how we complement each other is that 365, you're dealing with more than 10,000 businesses that call Martin County home, right? Whatever they need. You're also the front door to our community. As people are coming in, what do I need to know? Where do I go? So you're our first stop for welcoming visitors and residents and businesses. And what we specialize in on with you is those businesses that are looking to create that job, expand their space, put up a new facility. So that's what we get a chance to do each and every day. So direct business investment.
And you have the ability, and your staff has the ability to walk people through the process. Mm-hmm. And like it or not,
it's a process.
and I would think that from reputation, Martin County's is quite difficult, the process, to circumvent and to get through.
Maybe
it's gotten better.
Yes.
It's become better.
Yeah.
But it's still cumbersome, I think.
But for a business who's never maybe been through that bureaucratic process to, again, build out their space or to put up that new building,
You let them know where the bumps in the road are before they get there, so there are no bumps in the road. And so for many years, and I'll regress a little bit. I talked about how we funded the BDB, mm-hmm. the chambers in the city, and I would have, without fail, during the budget cycle, I would invariably have board members say, "Why are we giving this much money to the business development board? What are we need? This is coming out of our budget. Why?" And my response always has been and will always be that I pray they don't go away, because I don't do economic development. I'm a chamber guy. Okay, it's perceived as economic development, but I don't do economic development. Quite frankly, I'll go back to when Ted was there or Tim was there. If I had an economic development lead walk into my office, I'm on the phone. Ted, I need you. 15 minutes, Ted's there. Tim was there, you're there. Because I can't take them through the steps that you can. It's not what I do.
Well, we're kind of that specialized arm then. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so that's would always be, and there was never any, once I explained it to a board member or two or the finance committee saying, here's what they do. This is what we can't provide. And so that, I pray that they don't go away, and certainly that they have we can find enough money to keep them going
Right.
to do their job, and that's occurred, and it's
And I love this recent lead that you discovered. So you got a call from the Spain consulate out of Miami, who said, "We've got a company who, looks like they're going to end up in your jurisdiction, right?" So
Yep.
then you said, "Hey, Joan, we've got this
Help."
company from Spain who's looking to open up their
Right.
U.S. sales and showroom, and let's get together and answer their questions and support them." And so Meltio, Adatech, one of our 3D printing,
Yep.
totally interrupting that industry now, is calling Martin
City
County
Home.
and Palm City
Yeah.
Home.
Yeah.
So that's how it
and
works.
that's yeah, it's a great working relationship. And so again, we take a look, and I talked to Narissa about tourism and about the amount of money that we spend on tourism. The ROI is incredible, and it's the same thing with business development. Like these new, but even if it's not a new firm moving in, the fact is that you and your staff are out there encouraging existing businesses to expand, or to refer one of their vendors
Right.
to move here.
And trying to keep the back door closed, because as we open up the front door, if our back door is open and exposed and we've got just as many businesses flowing out, well, we're not going to expand the economic base like we need to in order to maintain our high quality of life.
Has that, that's something that I really never paid much attention to. That's interesting, the back door. So, has that improved over what it was? I couldn't even guess how many people were leaving. If a company dropped out of the chamber, we thought they were going out of business, or we didn't take into consideration, or maybe even inquire, are you moving? So, was that a big number of?
It is a big part to our economic development strategy, and we do put it in the bucket of growing our own. So again, by keeping that back door closed and as solid as possible, and we're doing that systematically, Joe, with our one-on-one pulse visits now. We've named it Pulse in order to keep a pulse on those businesses that are here. So we've got volunteers and we've got partnerships in which we're going in to anyone who wants to meet with us to share their business story, to check in and see how business is going. And then if they identify either opportunities or challenges for them to take their next step, we try to problem solve with them. And yeah, there is definitely, we've got one business that we took through the Pulse visit, and we lost them from Martin County, but that was only because they thought they needed to be closer to the Space Coast, in which most of their customers were at. And then there was a talent opportunity for them to be closer to that talent pipeline that was
yeah.
clustering there. But that's why having these conversations is so important and is early, and letting our businesses know we're so pleased they call, Martin County home.
So, what would I know you don't have a crystal ball, and what other, okay, you just had an instance where they wanted to be closer to the Space Coast, but why do people leave Martin County? What is the business climate isn't good? Is it?
Well, it's usually for those businesses, and not specific to Martin County, but generally in this work that we do from economic development for business expansion and retention, it could be personal reasons.
Family
Again, they're
issues.
just ready to move closer to family. If family's not already here, again, our business owners, executives, and entrepreneurs, they live too, right? Generally, it's really all over the board, but what we're going to do this year with our Pulse visits is we're going to produce a Pulse report. So it'll be the Martin County Pulse report that we publish every year, that basically synthesizes what we've heard from these business owners, executives, and entrepreneurs. Some of them are giving us great recommendations for maybe how we improve our business friendliness, how we improve our business competitiveness. And so that's all going to go in there. And I think then that's where we'll also have a chance to really collaborate with our other economic partners in continually improving Martin County as a place for business.
I think since I've been in Martin County that this current board of county commissioners, as well as city council, have really been entrepreneurial in their thinking, and open to things that in the past were taboo. So I think that they'll listen, and I'm very pleased where we are politically. I think our as well as staff. I mean, George Stokes is one of the most entrepreneurial, and I told him
Bureaucrats, yeah,
bureaucrat.
entrepreneurial bureaucrat.
And I said, George, you're a bureaucrat, and
I've
I'm
said
not
the same thing to him.
I said,
yep.
but you have an entrepreneurial, but so does Don, and Taryn always did, but Taryn was so bogged down until, thankfully, they saw the wisdom. The county commission saw the wisdom to promote George and take some of that.
That pressure off.
Off it, yeah. So, and that with Taryn, I thought was always there, but you and I know, everyone knows. I mean, your county administrator, your administrators are going to get in step with the commission's views and how they perceive things. So if you've got a wacko commission up there that's anti-everything, where's the county staff going? They have to fall in step.
Oh, absolutely.
So-
again, speaking as a former bureaucrat, yeah, that's your job. So once policy is articulated and
You
defined,
better
it's
follow
our
it.
job to carry it out. And again, remembering that I've been here 3 years, that has just been so beautiful to see and watch. From
Yeah.
the Board of County Commissioners in the city of Stewart and the village of Indiantown, even as they come into their own, as to recognizing, again, having that strong economic base to ensure that we all get the high quality of life that we want. It is solid support for that.
That brought me to somewhere else that I love to talk about. Is Indiantown ready? I mean,
Yes.
they have, since I've been here, that has been where we're going. That's where it's got to go. That's where economic development's going to be. That's going to be the jewel of Martin County, the economic base, et cetera, et cetera. And then year after year, or, I remember when Bob Post had a developer out there, they were going to build homes, and the bond fell out of the economy, and everything fell apart. And so every time they seem set to take it to the next level, something happens. Are they there?
They are there. As
Leadership,
evidence,
I know, is there.
they're there as evidenced even from an economic development point of view. So we've got green carbon solutions that are under construction with their new facility out there, and some beautiful new jobs for the village. Also under construction is Division 5 Labs, who the BDB helped select the village for their investment in our community. We've got Grindhard Ammo, who first selected Stewart for some of their assembly work, but then through the pandemic learned that if we were going to provide the ammunition for our military, for our law enforcement, they'd have to move that manufacturing from outside the U.S. and bring that back onshore. So Grindhard Ammo is making that commitment to our community in the village in order to produce, what we need in order for that security and defense of our country and our, community and stuff. So, no, that the
That
village
makes me laugh
is
about your ammo thing. The first thing I heard, they're moving a bomb factory here.
Right.
Did
and
you
thank,
hear that?
And thank
Did
you
hear
for
Yeah.
helping to level set the correct
You're going to be
communications.
building bombs in Martin
Yeah.
County.
No, so thank you for the
Yeah.
help with the PR, and no, so that it's just evidence that businesses that get to know us in Martin County, you know, they see us as a good business destination. And then some of the work, as you mentioned, with George Stokas's leadership and the support of county administration by funding the economic study, the COVID-19 economic study, which clearly lays out what our playbook, our game plan is, you know, in which our hubs of excellence for aviation and aerospace, marine, clean and green, healthcare, medical, ag, equestrian, and IT is already here and part of our DNA, part of our legacy
Right, of course,
businesses.
yeah.
And so, but recommitting to those industries because they will be bringing us, you know, the beautiful, good paying jobs that, you know, our community is looking for.
Yeah, and George is the founder, father, developer of our Career Connect. You know, it was George's idea. George came to me and he said to me, "Listen, job creation, we can do something. We can
Right.
help with our recovery fund." There isn't another chamber. When I tell other chamber execs, there isn't another chamber that I know of has had the county work with them, or a community for that fact, to do job creation with recovery funds. And there is a portion of those recovery funds that are designated for that purpose.
We were just talking about that yesterday. We've got a regional table that we've set to work on the talent workforce issue. So as you and Angela are leading, you know, the charge with our other nonprofit executives in leveraging this money from Washington, you know, to build our talent and workforce capacity, we're trying to do the better storytelling at the regional level as to, again, you know, our community and other communities on the Treasure Coast, great place to work, right? So if you're coming out of high school and you may not be ready yet specifically for your next, you know, well, work here, you know, because we've got great businesses and great employers and stuff. It's the campaign that we're doing is Treasure Coast Makers, tcmakers.com. And so we were just talking yesterday. I was doing a little boasting, I must admit. I'm like, I just, you know, Martin County is spending $2 million. Again, our chamber, Stewart Martin County Chamber and the Career Connect Martin, and it is just awesome. You know, again, the innovation. So thanks to you and Angela and Gina, you
Yeah,
know, for,
great team.
because you've been putting, man, your whole heart and soul.
And you know, and that's something, Joan, that, you know, so many people, and I get it, and so many people see that money goes to infrastructure. Who sees that? Or it goes here. This is measurable. We see, we're putting people to work.
Right.
We're taking, and I think we're taking second chance employees who really, where else have they got to go?
Right.
And we're putting them to work,
You're
and they're
giving them
getting
a chance.
jobs.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's amazing. But that's something you can feel, taste, and smell. You know, we're training somebody and we're putting them in a job and they become a productive citizen.
Right.
You know, and that's really such a great use. Obviously, it's beneficial for us too, but it's such a great use of those funds that are designated for your community to recover. And if you can provide jobs, you're helping the recovery process.
Yeah.
So, you know, George is, I'll always be thankful for George because he really is the one who come up with the idea.
Again, highly entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
give anything
Yeah.
a chance.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting really good at in Martin County, aren't
Yeah.
we, Joe? You know,
I-
we'll pilot, we'll try it.
Yes.
You know, we'll
Yeah.
adapt it, but we keep marching.
And we're not, listen, if we fail, we fail. As long as everything can't be successful, everything can't work to your expectations, but if you give it a try and you've followed all of the procedures that you should have, and it doesn't work, but at least you tried.
Right. In the words of Nelson Mandela, we're either going to win or we're going to learn. We do a lot of winning and we learn along the way too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you're taking time out of your busy schedule, and I always want to make sure that we haven't missed something, and I want to give you the opportunity, as I do every guest, that have we missed something you want to talk about, or you want people to know that perhaps we haven't covered?
I'd love your audience to just believe that Martin County is open for business, that we are here to help every entrepreneur, executive, business owner on anything that they need, right? They call you, they call me, they call Ted, they call George, they call Missy, they call Ron, they call,
Absolutely.
Lainey and Donna. We're family. So as long as our businesses know we're part of their family, and to give us a ring when.
And I can attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. I
Good.
really appreciate it, Joan.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.